Hey everyone, Switch and Switch 2 will have good RPGs coming in. Between big ports, brand new exclusives, and long-awaited indie gems, there's a ridiculous amount of RPGs coming. Let's count them down. DecaPolice. You're a rookie detective named Harvard Marks, thrown into a massive open-world city called Broadstone, where crime runs deep. The twist? You get access to DecaSim, a virtual copy of reality packed with memories of past crimes. You dive into this digital world to gather clues, then bring that evidence back to solve real cases. Criminals who've gone too far even transform into these monstrous creatures called crime beasts. And that's where the combat kicks in. You're switching between investigation sections and turn-based tactical battles, teaming up with your squad from the Special Investigations Unit. Each teammate has their own abilities, so building your team matters. It's from level 5, the same people who made Professor Layton, so the storytelling pedigree is there. It's been delayed multiple times since its original 2023 announce, but it looks like 2026 is finally the year. Mina the Hollower. From the studio that gave us Shovel Knight comes something totally different. Mina the Hollower puts you in the boots of Mina, a Hollower, basically a professional monster hunter who shipwrecks on a cursed island and has to save it. The game plays like old-school top-down Zelda, but with Souls-like combat DNA mixed in. You've got Mina's whip, called Nightstar, as your main tool, plus a whole arsenal of sidearms, each with completely different movesets. You can also literally burrow underground, which isn't just a gimmick, it's how you dodge hazards, access hidden areas, and outmaneuver enemies. The visuals are styled after Game Boy Color classics, but with widescreen, detailed animation, and buttery controls. Switch 2 players get 120 frames per second on top of everything else. For $19.99, this thing is genuinely a steal. Yacht Club studio head said it's make or break for them as a company, and honestly, from what's been shown, it looks like it's going to deliver. Witchbrook has been in development since 2016, and yes, it's still coming. But what we've seen is absolutely worth the wait. You play as a young witch, starting your life at Witchbrook College in the seaside city of Mossport. Think magical school meets life sim. You attend classes, earn badges, brew potions, build friendships, find love, and gradually unlock more of the world. It supports up to 4 players online, so you can experience the whole thing with friends. The pixel art is stunning. The city is full of secrets and spirits, and the relationship system is described as genuinely realistic, meaning romance can end badly, just like in real life. There are hints at some kind of magic-based progression tied to your coursework, and the world map shows off a ton of varied locations across Mossport. Chucklefish delayed it out of winter 2025 to make sure the world feels properly alive. Still no hard date, but sometime in 2026.
The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Team Asano, the studio behind Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default, is doing something new here. Elliot is an adventurer living in the kingdom of Huther, the last human stronghold on a continent taken over by beast tribes. He and his fairy companion Faye get sent into newly discovered ruins, and what starts as an exploration mission turns into a journey that spans 1,000 years of history. The game uses HD 2D visuals, which Team Asano basically invented, but this time it's built around real-time action combat instead of turn-based. Faye provides support abilities in battle, adding a layer of strategy to the fights. You explore a world called Philibieldia freely, picking up new weapons, magicite, and side content as you go. A free prologue demo is already available, with save data that carries into the full game. For fans of classic Zelda or Chrono Trigger vibes dressed up in modern visuals, this one looks seriously good. Forge of the Fae is a turn-based pixel RPG set in a world inspired by 1800s Ireland, where humans and the Fae are locked in a dangerous conflict. You follow Fiora, a young inventor who gets pulled into investigating a series of mysterious disappearances happening amid a miners' strike. The world blends steampunk technology with ancient Celtic magic, and it creates a really distinct flavor you don't see often in RPGs. Combat uses a unique crystal system to channel powerful spells, and there are puzzles scattered throughout that reward you with items and extra lore. Your choices throughout the game actually matter. The story has branching paths that shift depending on what you decide. Publisher Deck 13 Spotlight picked it up after a successful Kickstarter, which is a good sign for its development health. Aiming for 2027 on Switch, but the art and concept alone make it one of the most interesting RPGs announced. Professor Layton is back, and this time he and Luke are heading to America, specifically to Steam Bison, a Wild West city powered by steam technology so advanced it makes London look outdated.
The story picks up a year after the unwound future, and a mysterious incident in Steam Bison kicks off a brand new adventure. A ghostly cowboy villain called Gunman King Joe has been shown in trailers, and he looks genuinely unsettling. The puzzles this time were designed by Japanese quiz group Quizknock, following the passing of series puzzle designer Akira Tago. It's the biggest Layton puzzle collection yet, and Level 5 says the Switch 2 version will use mouse controls for a smoother pointing experience. This is also the first Layton game launching simultaneously worldwide on Switch, Switch 2, PS5, and PC. Level 5 confirmed a late 2026 window in April, so it's coming, just no hard date yet. If you grew up with Layton on DS, this one's going to hit.
Nippon Ichi Software, the Disgaea and Phantom Brave people, made a farming sim, and it's not what you expect. Village in the Shade is set in Kagatsu, a quiet Japanese mountain village with a hand-painted art style that looks genuinely beautiful. You move in, plant crops, decorate your home, watch cherry blossoms with your neighbors, and build relationships with the townspeople. Classic, cozy stuff. But Kagatsu has rules. Don't talk to strangers, don't leave the village, and absolutely do not go outside after dark. The game shifts tone as night falls, and the cheerful daytime facade gives way to something much more unsettling. It's being compared to a mix of Stardew Valley and Yomawari, which is a very interesting combination. Japan gets it July 30th, 2026. Western release is fall 2026 on Switch, Switch 2, PS5, and PC. There's even a limited edition with an art book, soundtrack, enamel pins, and more. Cozy with a dark edge that's Village in the Shade. Final Fantasy VII Remake came to Switch 2 earlier this year, and now Rebirth is following on June 3rd, 2026. This is the second chapter of Square Enix's massive trilogy retelling of the classic 1997 RPG. Cloud, Tifa, Barret, Aerith, and Red 13 escape Midgar and step out into a wide, gorgeous world. New party members, Yuffie and Cait Sith, join along the way. The game massively expands the scale. Think open areas, chocobo riding, a ton of minigames, and some genuinely wild story moments. Combat keeps the real-time and ATB hybrid from Remake, but expanded and refined across the whole cast. There's also a streamlined progression mode for players who just want to enjoy the story without worrying about stats. The Switch 2 version has a free demo covering the first 2 chapters, available right now. Rebirth won over 40 Game of the Year awards on PS5, and now Switch 2 players finally get to experience what the hype was about. Wandering Sword has been sitting on Steam with an overwhelmingly positive rating from over 31,000 reviews, and now it's finally coming to Nintendo platforms. You play as a young swordsman who gets caught in a feud between 2 martial arts sects and ends up poisoned with something called Frozen Toad. That incident sets you on a path to master the martial arts and become a true hero of the wuxia world. The pixel art is stunning, crafted in Unreal Engine to blend retro pixel aesthetics with real 3D lighting and effects. The combat system lets you swap freely between turn-based command mode and real-time action on a tile-based battlefield. You can learn moves from dozens of martial arts schools, and there are 20 different endings depending on your choices. The Switch and Switch 2 versions include both major DLC packs from the PC version, plus newly recorded Japanese and Chinese voice acting. PS5 got it May 28, 2026. Switch follows later in 2026. FromSoftware making a Nintendo exclusive is not a sentence anyone expected to type. The Duskbloods is directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki himself, and it is not a traditional Souls-like. It's a multiplayer PvPvE action RPG exclusive to Switch. 2. You play as one of the Bloodsworn, a group of vampire-like warriors who gained incredible power through special blood. Up to 8 players fight each other and the world's threats simultaneously, all competing for something called the First Blood, in an event called the Twilight of Humanity. You pick from over a dozen characters, each with unique weapons, spells, and abilities. The world has that classic Gothic Victorian look, towering cathedrals, grand streets, shadowy architecture. There's a social system where you mark other players as rivals or companions, adding a personal layer to every match. Miyazaki confirmed they're still committed to single-player games going forward. This is just a sidestep. Elden Ring is already one of the most praised games ever made. And now, it's coming to Switch 2 as the Tarnished Edition, bundling the full base game and the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion together. You're a tarnished warrior, exploring the massive open world called the Lands Between, fighting brutally challenging bosses, uncovering cryptic lore, and building your character however you want. 2 brand new exclusive classes are included in this version. The Heavy Knight has already been shown, giving even returning players a fresh reason to start over. Torrent, your spectral horse, also gets new customization options. New armor sets round out the exclusive content. The port was originally planned for 2025, but got delayed so FromSoftware could improve performance.
Recent preview builds have been received positively. A Canadian retailer leaked a July 10, 2026 release date, which hasn't been confirmed yet. A new Fire Emblem game closing out a Nintendo Direct is always a big deal, and Fortune's Weave delivered. This is the 18th entry in the series, and the first built specifically for Switch 2. The story centers on the Heroic Games, a grand tournament hosted by a figure called the Divine Sovereign, who promises to grant the winner's wish. Characters enter for all kinds of reasons. One wants to save his dying father. Another needs strength to lead her people. The setting appears connected to Fire Emblem Three Houses, with a grown-up Sothis making an appearance in the trailer. Familiar mechanics like combat arts, gambits, and crests return from Three Houses, but a new system called Blaze Arts lets units spend health to unleash powerful map abilities, adding a risk-reward layer to battles. The arid landscape and massive Colosseum look incredible. No specific release date yet beyond 2026, but this one's a guaranteed system seller for Switch 2. Oblivion Remastered hit PS5, Xbox, and PC in April 2025 and blew up. Now, it's finally heading to Switch 2 in 2026. The remaster was built by Virtuos in Unreal Engine 5, with a full graphical overhaul, modernized combat, updated menus, and smoother progression. The story has you rising from a prisoner to the hero Tamriel needs, stopping the Mythic Dawn cult from opening gates to a demon realm called Oblivion. It's one of the most iconic open-world RPGs ever made. You can follow the main quest, ignore it for 20 hours, accidentally become the leader of 3 guilds, and then remember you have a world to save. The Switch 2 version includes the base game plus both major expansions, Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine, along with a stack of previously released DLC. This is the first time any mainline Elder Scrolls game has come to a Nintendo platform in this complete a form. No exact date confirmed yet, but it's coming in 2026. The Trails in the Sky First Chapter Remake launched September 2025 and absolutely knocked it out of the park. And now the second chapter has a confirmed date, September 17th, 2026. This picks up directly where the first left off. Estelle has become a senior bracer, but on the eve of a celebration, Joshua reveals a dark truth from his past and vanishes into the night. Armed with his harmonica and sheer determination, Estelle sets out across the continent to find him, running straight into the shadow organization Ouroboros, whose plans reach far beyond just the kingdom of Liberl. The 3D remake keeps the hybrid combat from the first chapter. You can switch between real-time quick battle and slower turn-based command battle on the fly. The game also expands what party members can do in battle, beyond the first chapter's limitations. English and Japanese voice acting is included, and both digital and physical editions are coming worldwide simultaneously. Pokémon's 10th generation was officially announced February 27, 2026, Pokémon's 30th anniversary, and it's clear Game Freak finally took their time. Winds and Waves is set in a tropical archipelago inspired by Southeast Asia, featuring beautiful windswept islands and underwater areas you can actually explore. The region blends modern cities with lush jungles and open oceans, and it already looks like the most visually impressive mainline Pokémon game by a significant margin. Your starters are Brout, the grass-type bean chick, Pombon, the fire-type puppy, and Gekwa, the water-type gecko. The open-world design continues from Scarlet and Violet, but looks substantially more polished. 2 special versions of Pikachu, called Mr. Windychew and Mrs. Wavychew, will assist you on the journey. This is a Switch 2 exclusive, no Switch 1 version, so Game Freak can fully lean into the new hardware. And that's your list. 15 RPGs that prove the Switch and Switch 2 are absolutely stacked. Whether you're into cozy farming, brutal combat, or epic stories, something on here has your name on it. Drop a comment with which one you're most hyped for. See you next time!